Women in the military, the struggle and the victories. Did you know women were denied entry in the military until 1775? Women in the military have gone through many obstacles imposed by men to gain entrance in the military. Women were forced to disguise themselves as men in order to be able to help with combat in the military. In the beginning, from 1775 to 1783, women served during the time of the American Revolution as nurses, water bearers, cooks, laundresses, and saboteurs. In the War of 1812, Mary Marshall and Mary Allen nursed aboard the Commodore Stephen Decatur ship. In the Mexican War, which dated 1846 to 1848, Elizabeth Newcomb enlists in the Company D of the Missouri Volunteer Infantry as Bill Newcomb, so that she can serve her country in place of her husband who was killed in combat. After she was exposed, she was forced to discharge from the military. During the Civil War of 1861 to 1865, women on both sides of the battlefield disguised themselves as men in order to serve, from the Confederate end and from the Union end. And as they were discovered, they were discharged as well. In 1901, Army Nurse Corps is established, and in 1908, they moved to establish the Navy Nurse Corps, which allowed women to be able to play more roles in different parts of the military. In 1920, the Army Reorganization Act provides a provision which grants nurses the status of officers with relative rank, from second lieutenant to major. But even with this promotion, there were still certain stipulations that were put on women that weren't put on men. The first woman to be awarded a disability pension by Congress was Margaret Carbon. During the Persian Gulf War, 41,000 women served in the line of duty. Currently, we have 10% of the United States Armed Forces being comprised of women that are serving in Afghanistan and as well as Iraq. A fun fact: Harriet Tubman served as a volunteer nurse, spy, and scout for the Union Army during the Civil War. To this date, servicewomen are still restricted from serving in certain positions in the Army, the Navy, the Marines, and even in the Coast Guard. For the Army, they're restricted from serving in the infantry unit, the armor unit, special forces, combat engineer companies, and also ground surveillance. And the list goes on. How would you feel if a loved one was denied entry into the military, and not only denied entry into the military, but denied the ability to be able to serve in a certain position just because she was a woman? Could be your mother, your aunt, your sister, even your daughter. I believe women and men should be created equal in all things. That is what our nation represents, and it should be what our laws reflect.